Let's have a conversation about how to navigate someone lying about their size. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling women and men who have experienced abuse as well as perpetrators of abuse. Responding to this commenter, I did this because he lied about his member. We joked about endurance and he hinted that he was well endowed. Okay, fine. We get there and it's the size of my pinky finger. I didn't say anything because I was scared he would get mad at me and hurt me, so I kept quiet and ghosted him with the immediate effect after getting home. This is so interesting. I'm 46, and being 46, just to kind of clue you in, if this is like your first post, I'd done a post about ghosting after intimacy, and how you should be able to communicate with your partner or whomever you're in bed with that the sex is not great, and this person is talking about the size of the man's tool and how it didn't measure up. So going back to what I was saying, but anyhow, being 46 to me, a person, a man who has it like that doesn't have to be braggadocious, right? He's going to let it, he's going to let it speak for itself. So again, I think the first red flag here is someone, oh, baby, I got it like that. You can't wait to see what I got. Ooh, it's magic in my pants. I think to me, that's like, red flag 101. And call me crazy. But that's kind of, I know, being as old as I am, people who talk about it like that and really sort of hype themselves up, that's old school way of saying he's not really packing anything, and I also don't think necessarily, again, now that I'm older, size is a deal breaker, but you have to make up for what you lack in your punch with everything else. But you have to also talk to people about that too. Again, I get what you're saying. Like, there's like this secondhand embarrassment. Like, oh man, I got played big time. I went in there and guns ablazing, and I came out with, a pinky. And I still think that there should be some work around that, or conversation around that. Like, I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate being lied to, believe it or not, Dr. Jones has had some of these conversations with people in the past, way back yonder when I was a young buckaroonie, and I also got duped, surprised, if you will. And, it's just like, what was that? Like, what is that? And to be honest, a man truly wouldn't be hurt. The only reason he's hurt is because he's hyped himself up, and now he's actually starting to believe his own lies. But, he needs to have a dose of reality. But you can't be lying and the sex be trash. And so I do think that there could be a way to navigate a respectful conversation. Now, you might be right in that you couldn't have a conversation with him because a person like this that is braggadocious, may be egotistical. So an ego bruising could definitely be, something to look out for, right? You can't, if this man has a big ego, but that also should be, to me, that should be your clue in, and that, hey, I better leave this guy alone. He's braggadocious, he's over the top, he's full of himself, whether he's got a nice package or not. If he's full of himself, you're already in. You're already in for a rude awakening with someone that just sort of hypes themselves up to be like the best and the this and that and the other. To me, you can't really. To me, this is me being 46 and living as long as I have on this earth. To me, you can't really hype yourself up to be great at anything in bed with me until we've actually been together. And, that usually will take for any reasonable person 3 or 4 times. Just because you have the equipment doesn't mean that you know how to work it or that you know what I like, right? And so everybody needs to go through a training phase, if you will, before we can even get to being a hype man, feeling like you're king of the world. So to me, if somebody starts out feeling like, talking about himself and thinking that he's got it going on, I avoid that like the plague. It's already a turnoff and we haven't even done anything because that to me is a very juvenile, it's a very juvenile mindset. And, again, they're overcompensating for something. And that could be size. It could be lack of experience. It could be just nervous jitters. It could be a whole lot of things that they're lying about. Or, whether or not they're clean, too. That's the other thing. Cleanliness. And that could be sanitary cleanliness. It could also be whether they're free and clear of diseases. But, usually people that are just loud mouth and popping at the gums and things like that, that's a sign to avoid that straight from the gate. And it's okay to have a little fun and, play and stuff like that. I certainly encourage people to play, but you have to know the difference between people who are playful, who are flirty. You have to know the difference between that and people that are just big ego, like, just talking themselves up and being king of the world and things of that nature. So I hope that helps. I think, again, to pay attention to the red flags about stuff like that prior to even getting into the bedroom. You can't really brag and say that you're great and you're this and you're that and that, until we've had that experience together. I hope that helps. Thanks so much for saying this. I'm happy to answer any questions. But you guys, you certainly sound like you've had a colorful life and I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad you're out there having lots of fun. Take care.